Hello, everyone. Welcome once again to the NSI Nail Tech webinar. I am so happy that you are here. I'm just going to ramble a little bit so that people can connect and join in so that hopefully they don't miss out on the beginning parts of it. If you can't watch the video, the live stream live, it will be posted to our group site as per usual. So then you can go through and watch it as many times or not, whichever way you decide to go. But you can always refer back to it if there were things that were a little bit unclear. Welcome to any new members that we may have joining today. For those of you that do not know who I am, my name is Darlene. I am the NSI's in-house educator as well as a global educator, and I'm just thrilled to be able to share some of my knowledge that I have with nail experience and different techniques that I've gained over the last 32 years. And hopefully it'll help to explain a few things along the way, especially if you're new. And there is so much out there right now. You can just be bombarded with so many products and so many different terminologies, and you just makes your head spin where you're really not quite sure, well, what is this and how do I use it? And not even if you're a new technician, but a seasoned technician, and let's just say perhaps you do a lot of acrylic as opposed to your gel products. So in the last few years, there has been, like I said, a real influx of different types of gel products that have been launched into the industry. And it can get a little bit confusing. Where do you start? What do you do? Where do you go from here? So that's basically what today's webinar is going to be about. I am going to show you, do a demo, a quick demo just on an extreme shape, how to do it, what to look for, using our Balance Elite, but I also am going to be incorporating some of the other gel lines that we carry so that you can see how you can use other gel products together with the Balance Elite, and that it is perfectly fine and your structure won't suffer because you get service breakdown. So that's kind of what the goal today is. Do a shout out, let me know where you are from, and hello to you all again. And I hope that you really enjoy what I have to share. And again, if there are questions along the way, just put them in the comments, and Isabel will read them out loud and I will answer them. And then I always try to go back on once the feed has been posted, and go back and try to answer some questions as well. So if there's something that we missed, I hope that I'll be able to pick that up once it's been posted and contact you directly, or you can always contact me directly as well. If you need to DM me about any questions, that is perfectly fine as well. So without further ado, I'm going to just take the phone and flip it around, and let's get started talking about gel. All right, here we go. I know you're looking at my ceiling and then you're like, really? Why do I have to look at your fingers? Okay, here we are. So I'm going to lower my phone a little bit because I do want for you to be able to see, and let me know if this light is too much of a glare. And if it's causing problems, I will try to adjust it because, of course, we need to see what we're doing here. I need to see. Okay, I'm just going to put that form aside. So we're going to be talking about different gels. So let's start off with our, I don't want to say lowest gel, but our most softest gel, if that makes sense. Okay, so we're going to start off with the Essential Base Coat line. Okay, so Essential Base Coat. What is base coat? Base coat is base coat. Base coat is what we will use. Is that blurry, Isabel, or is it just my screen that I'm looking at?
It's a little bit blurry.
It's a little blurry. Okay, so then let me just move it up a bit. Sorry about that, guys. How's that? Oh, that's better, right?
Much better.
Much better. Okay, so it can't go that low. All right, so essential base coat. What is base coat? When do I use it? How do I use it? So the essential line, it is your prep products. Okay, I would use base coat for if I'm doing a natural nail manicure where I'm going to be putting on some gel polish or the cream gel. The client does not want an enhancement of any sort. So this is what I'm going to use. It's my sticky double-sided tape to get everything to stick to it. Base coat is really important. So if you think about it, when we are doing natural nail prep and we're etching the nail and we're roughing up that surface, if I go directly onto that surface and start building my nail, whatever I'm using, it's not going to be even. So if you think about it, it's a little overkill, but visualize this. My nail is like this because I've etched it. I put groove marks in. What base coat is doing, it's filling in those grooves so that, and it's bringing it up to a nice even platform. So now everything that I put on top of it, the base is level. So now I'm going to get product that's going to stick well. If I jump in and I forget about base coat and I just want to jump into, again, whatever product that I'm using, the surface, the nail surface itself is not even. So you're going to get adhesion problems, and that's your first surface breakdown. So my base coat, I use this under anything gel. So if I'm using, if I'm doing my gel polish, if I'm doing my cream gels on natural nail, I use base coat as my adhesion layer for the soft gel tips, for my rubber base, for my poly paste, and then also for Balance Elite. So this plays a very vital role in your gel system. Okay, so from there, pardon, this is old packaging, I know, and they're going to hate me for it, but I'm using this particular color. um, this is an old gel, but I absolutely love it. And I don't know, hint, maybe we need to bring it back. This was from our accessory line and it's pink peep toes. And I'm going to use that when I'm sculpting this one because it's got just a beautiful little shimmer. So I'll just put that aside for now. But okay, Polish Pro. Polish Pro is our gel polish line. Okay, so gel polish was designed back in the day when we came up with the formula for the gel polish. It was designed to last only for 10 days. Okay, so we're applying this on the natural nail, and you're going to get 10 days wear. That's going to be your max. Now we use it together with our base coat. Okay, people don't like that. Some people are starting to get frustrated because why is it chipping right away? Well, because it's on your natural nail. Any type of polish on a natural nail will wear much quicker than if you're on an enhancement of some sort. Okay. So for me, I use the gel polish. It is for color. Okay. I'm adding color to the nail. Um, the new HEMA-free polish will have just a little bit of a thicker consistency, but not by a whole lot. But gel polish is gel polish. Gel polish can be used, again, on natural nail. It can be used over the soft gel tips. So I have soft gel tips on my nails right now, and I'm going to talk about those in a couple minutes. So they can be used over soft gel tips. You can do an inlay with your hard gels if you want, which I will show you how. Okay. You can use this over rubber base. You can use this over poly paste. You can use this over your Balance Elite. Okay. So it is a versatile product that will go to, you can also use this on acrylic. Okay. All of these things can go on acrylic. We're just talking about gel right now. Okay. Now, if I'm doing an enhancement where, say, for example, I've either used the soft gel tips or the rubber base or the poly paste or the Balance Elite, something where it starts to get harder. Once I've sculpted and made my structure before, so I've done my finish filing, before I put my color on, I go back to my base coat And I always put on a layer of base coat over top of my enhancement. Again, it's that same concept. If you think about it, I have now filed over top of the gel, even though I'm using a nice fine grit file, but I'm filing to shape that nail. I have made groove marks into it, and I want to have a really good finish with my color. So I want to put my base coat down so that it's a nice, even, clean finish to my enhancement. Okay. Then we've got our cream gels. So Polish Pro is soak off. Base coat is soak off. Cream gels are soak off. So think about it this way. When it comes to the colors, okay, they are not made for structure. They are to add color only. Okay, so if you're trying to put layers and layers and layers and layers of either the Polish Pro or the cream gel palettes to build strength to the nail, that's not going to happen. Okay, this is only for color. So it is, the flexibility of this is very, very, very flexible, and it will just peel off of the nail. But you can, again, use these on your natural nail. You can use them over your enhancements. You can use them in your enhancements. You can use them for art. So there's many things where to say it's compatible with your gels. Okay, so that is your cream gel. Now we get into our soft gel tip adhesive. This is a gel, but this is what we are using to adhere our soft gel tips to the natural nail. I am thrilled about the soft gel tips, to be honest with you. Yes, I have been in the industry for 32 years. I know how to sculpt. I know how to make nails. Okay. But what's happening nowadays is that people, they want a quick service. They want an in and out. They don't want to sit. They don't want to sit for 2 hours or 3 hours to do a longer nail with a different shape to it, other than just a short square. Okay, they don't want to wait that long for it. So I love the soft gel tips because you can adhere them, you can put them on, and they are, I'll show you that hand instead, they are ready to go. So now I just have to polish them or put art on them if that's what I want, and they are strong. If you find the length is too long, no big deal, cut it down and you can make your salon style lengths. I have done infills on these where as it starts to grow out, I will take my soft gel tip adhesive and I will just float some product back into the cuticle line and blend it into the tip, and I will wear them until it's time to soak them off. So they are very functional. They work great. I think that if I was a nail technician starting in the industry today, and I wanted to build my clientele because I need to start making some money, I definitely would learn the soft gel tips because you don't have to worry so much about structure because it's all built in for you. And as you build your confidence and you grow and you start to understand the sculpting ends of things, well, then you start adding those services to your repertoire. But if you're starting with a true sculpted nail, that takes time, that takes a lot of practice, and you don't see the quick results that you do with the soft gel tip adhesives. And so that's where, like I said, I think if I was starting out today, I certainly would use this as my platform to just get the clientele in because they look fantastic, they last, I don't have to worry, but then I would work on my sculpting and how to make nails. They're strong. Like, okay, yes, I just did them, but they are strong. And I will go 3 weeks, like I said, and file them down, reshape them, fill in a little bit, and I go for another 3 weeks. So don't let the word soft gel or soft hinder you from thinking, oh, I can't use these tips. Are there any questions so far, Isabel, as I'm going along?
No, I haven't seen any yet.
Okay. Well, then that brings us into rubber base. And rubber base is also a product that again, if I am starting out and learning how to do nails, rubber base would be my good platform to start with. This is like a 6-in-1 gel, if that makes sense. I can do so many things with rubber base in this bottle. It just depends on how I'm using it. Okay, so let's go down to using this as a base coat. Rubber base just really hugs the natural nail. And I have some clients that are just problem lifters, and it doesn't seem to matter what it is that I do. So instead of using my base coat, I'll switch it out and I'll use rubber base as my base coat, just a nice thin layer, and then I'll cure it, and then I move on to whatever it is that I'm doing. So I can use rubber base as a base coat. I can use rubber base together with my Polish Pro or my Tech Gel, or my cream gel polish. I've got that client that, again, she likes the natural nail manicure. She would like for it to last a little bit longer than just your 10 days before polish might start chipping off. I'll use rubber base. And what that is doing is it's giving the natural nail just a little bit more strength, and the polish is going to stay on longer. And so now that client is happier. I don't want to build it so that it's a thick nail or anything, but just putting a nice thin layer onto the natural nail will give a little bit of strength to that client. Again, let's take that client, and she likes her natural nails, but she broke one and she doesn't want to lose the length of the other ones. Well, I can make an extension edge with my rubber base. Okay, so that's perfect. I can use rubber base and actually sculpt nails. So I can use it and sculpt a medium length nail. Now, some people would refer to these as long. This to me is long. This to me is a medium length. It's for myself, this is still a very workable length, but I can use rubber base and sculpt out an almond, a square, whatever shape that I would like to, completely with the rubber base. Now, of course, we're working in layers. Okay, so you don't just build it all in one blob. Our zones are layered from nail plate up, as opposed to when we're doing acrylic, free edge to cuticle edge. Okay, so when we're working with gels, we do have to layer. Each layer must be fully cured before you put something else on. But rubber base, again, can be used for multiple ways. And I love it. I love the fact that we do have clear. And I also love the fact that they come in colors. So I can do a full set of nails, and they all are this beautiful pink. And the client is in, out, and I don't have to do any other colors to the nails. So again, rubber base is really great in that regards. So now let's move into our poly paste. Poly paste, what is this? This, you hear a lot of times the word polygels. This is what poly paste is. It is a hybrid. It is a real, it's not acrylic, it's not gel. It's gel, yes, because it needs to be cured by the light, but it behaves, and the technique that I put poly paste on is more like a traditional acrylic person would. This doesn't float. This you need to pat and stretch into place, which you do with acrylic. So if you are an acrylic nail technician and you want to start dabbling into gel, I would say that this would be an excellent platform to start off with, because you've already got that technique for the floating, or pardon me, the patting and the pulling that you would do in acrylic, but now you're getting a taste of what gel would be like. And the same would be the opposite. If you are a gel user and you're thinking, I might want to start working with acrylic, well, using the poly paste as your starting platform, because you're now having to use different techniques, is a great introduction to what acrylic would be, but it's not going to cure on you like your traditional acrylic would be. So it's either way you want to look at it, it's a great platform. Now, polypaste does file. When you go to file it, it's it's like filing soap is what it feels like, because it gives off fine, almost I hate to say waxy, but it's very different than acrylic filing and very different than a pure gel file. Okay. But don't let that fool you. My last set that I just had on, I had the polypaste on, and they are hard. I broke a thumb, and man, did that snap. So you do have strength with your poly gel as well. So just because it files differently does not mean that it is soft. Okay. All right. Then I should have included these guys a little bit before when I was talking about colors. These are our Tack gel colors. These ones are very different than your cream gel, as well as very different from your Polish Pro. The Tack gel colors you can use as an all over coverage for, now I have to say, we recommend that this is for over enhancements only, not on natural nail. Now I know there's some of you that are going to say, but I've used it on the natural nail and it's fine. As manufacturers, we have to advise you how to use products properly. As a nail tech, I know nail techs because I am one. We are always out to look to break the rules. So if it has worked for you, fantastic, great for you, but it has been designed to go over top of an enhancement because there is a top coat in uh, combined together with your color. So when you cure it, it cures to a high gloss shine. It's very hard. I don't need to put top coat over top of this again. Okay. It is very pigmented. So it's got some great coloring. Okay, you can see I like this color. I've used it quite a bit. It's got great pigment. So this is also really good for art. It stays in its place when I'm doing line design. Unless I have gotten my lines too close together and it connects to another line, yes, it will pool. But I'm going to show you because I use some Tack gel in the tip of my structure here. So Tack gel, again, is color. It's not for structure, but can be incorporated together with your rubber base, your poly paste, your elite gels. So I don't know if I have added more confusion or if I've answered some questions for you. But then we have Balance Elite. So pretty much, so your soft gels, your soft gel adhesive is soak off. Your Polish Pro is soak off. Your cream gel polish is soak off. Your base coat is soak off. We get into polypaste is not soak off. It's HEMA free, but it is not soak off. Your Tack gel colors are not soak off. Our Balance Elite, our hard gel, our structure is not soak off. So not only do you need to know what you're putting on the client's nails, but how do you remove it? Okay. The Balance Elite gel is HEMA free. I am in love with it. Look at how clear my clear is. Look at, there are no bubbles in here. When you're working with gel, you don't want to be whipping it. You don't want to be moving it fast. You want to work with it with a very light touch, like icing a cake is how, when I'm teaching classes, I always tell my students, you want to be icing a cake. So your brush is not digging into the gel, it's floating on top. This is one of our opaque colors and it's called Pretty in Pink. And that is what I am going to use to start sculpting my nails. So I'm going to get started unless, Isabel, there's some questions that I can be answering at the same time. So I
Nothing's
did
come in
prep.
yet.
Okay, so I did prep this particular finger already, and I'm going to use a form. So I'm going to show you how I like to use forms. I'm going to just pop that little center tab out. Now, I have doubled up on my form because I do find when I'm doing a pipe, I need a little bit of extra oomph to the form so that it's not moving on me. Now, my nail's not flat, and I need to get my form to warm up. So what is a pipe? A pipe nail is basically a long square, okay? But it has got a very deep C curve. So I'm trying to angle that. So if you think about it, this is a 50% C curve. So think of a pipe, it's round, cut the pipe in half. That is what the nail should look like. So that means that I need to sculpt this nail and I need to really manipulate my forms. So I'm going to use a dowel and I'm going to just take my form, pardon me, and I'm just going to roll it like as if I'm rolling out dough so that I can just get that form to warm up a little bit so that it has that C curve already there. Okay, so if you look at the form, it's got that C curve there, which is fantastic. I'm going to bring the form to my nail to see if I have to cut. And I do have to cut because my hyponychium is very high and the form isn't touching here and it's not touching there. Okay, so I'm going to use my scissors. And there's little cut marks on the form that I'm going to use as my guide. And I am cutting out a happy face. Okay. So I'm going to come back to the finger, and that fits much better. Okay, great. Take the paper off. I like to still stick that little tab behind. And all I want to do is close the end of my form so that that C curve stays and I'm not trying to hold on to the form, the C curve, get it on my finger, do all those kinds of wonderful things. All right, so now the tricky part comes and I'm trying to line this all up. The dots have to be in the middle. Now, when we're doing a pipe, I have to have my form lifted up slightly so that it drops here so that I can get that 50% C curve. So when you're doing a nail, the higher percentage of the C curve, chances are you have to lift that form slightly. So I'm gonna just get it off of my fingers so that I can lift the form at the nose, stay in the middle. And now line it up and close my tab. So you can see this form is angled up. I'm going to take my scissors and I'm going to cut the sides because I need to tighten up and make this form tighter yet. So I'm going to take my NSI scissors that we have just launched. Oops. And now what I want to do is it's harder when you're doing it on yourself, but if I was on a client and I had two hands to work with, I would roll the form from on top and tighten it more. But for myself, whoops, I'm sweating. I'm going to just tighten it from underneath because I want the form to be able to come around. So you see the form almost looks like as if it's too small for my fingers, but it's not. It's good. All right. So I would put sorry, I'm having a malfunction, which I knew it would happen because I'm sweating. Pardon me. Let me do this again to get this form on properly. Sorry, guys. But at least you can see that this happens to the best of us, to all of us, the worst of us. Okay. All right. So I would put on my bond enhancer and my bond, which is my acid-free primer. And now I am taking my base coat. I've prepped the nail already. I've dehydrated the nail. I cleaned it with my Nail Pure Plus, and I'm going to use my base coat because I want that double-sided adhesion layer. I'm going to pop it into my light and I'm going to cure it. Not quite for so it would be cured for 30 seconds, but I want to just give it a little bit so that it gets tacky, not curing it completely. Because now what I'm going to do is, so I've got a little dap and dish with cleanse in here. I've got my wipe that I've put cleanse on as well. I've got my NSI brush that I like to dab my my brush into cleanse so that my brush is damp with cleanse and that it's not a dry brush. Okay, so now I'm going to take my glass, which is my clear, and I'm going to make my structure. So first thing I'm going to do is I'm just going to connect right here so that my form doesn't wiggle. And I'm brushing this on super nice and thin. I don't want this to be thick or heavy. And I'm just gonna freeze that for literally just a few seconds. Again, I'm doing it so that the form doesn't move on me because I'm a little hot right now. Okay, so I've got that connected. Now, the pipe. Because we have to have a drop, what is really hard when you're working, you need to make sure that your parallel lines come straight out onto the form, which is going to make it look like you're dropping. Okay, because if you look here on the form, so I always like to take my file, line it up to my sidewall to give me a guide as to where my product needs to go. And if you look, my file's nice and straight. I need to start here and I need to bring it all the way to there, which is going to make it look like it's crooked, but it's not crooked. It's straight out, but it's because the form is up. So there is a little bit of a trick there that tricks the eye a bit. So I want to take I make a little form, like a mold, I guess, if I want to say, where I'm just bringing it out. Okay. So I'm not sure if you can see that, but I have gone with my gel straight out, which looks like I've dropped. And I'm just going to, again, freeze that so it doesn't move on me. Going to pick up a little bit of gel and I'm going to do the exact same thing on the other side. So if I turn my hand this way, and again, if I take my file, trying to do this left-handed, a little difficult. If I take my file and line it up, it looks like I'm dropping on my form, but I'm going straight out. Okay, so take your product, connect here. And again, it looks like I'm dropping, but I'm going straight out. Okay, and then I'm going to just connect the rest. Why am I doing a clear platform and not right away going into using my pretty in pink? With gel, so I'm going to cure this for 15 seconds because then I want to pinch it. With gel and on a platinum form, we need to be able to have the light penetrate through so that it will cure completely. But the paper is blocking that penetration. So as soon as you put a clear platform down, that is what is going to cure, and everything else on top of it is going to stick to it. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to lightly pinch right here, lightly pinch. I am not letting go because these are really tight clamps. I'm just going to pinch just a little bit right there, and I'm going to put it back into the light again so it can continue to cure. So typically when I'm pinching with my gel, I'll do like 15 seconds pinch, cure another 15 seconds pinch, and then come out and just again give it that little pinch right there, because I don't want this nail to start looking wide. Now, even though I've got base coat on there, and I've got my Balance Elite, base coat is a 30-second cure time, Balance Elite is a 60-second cure time. I need to cure it fully so that when I start building on top of it, that bottom layer is cured. Okay, so I'm going to do the body. I'm going to use my pretty in pink. So my brush again stamp with cleanse. I'm going to pick up. And I want to build in layers. So I call this my foundation layer. So I want the gel to be in front of my brush. And I'm going to give it that little push into the cuticle line and into the sidewalls to be able to say, okay, start moving. And notice how I'm not leaving brush marks behind. It really is this little dance that I am doing. Now I want to make my nail plate look like it is extended because I've got a really short nail bed. So I'm going to go out onto the form. And I'm giving it the shape that I am looking for. I'm going to go out to here. Okay, wipe it off, touch it up. Any questions, Isabel? Okay.
No, nothing's
And
come through.
okay, so now again, I have to cure this for a full 60 seconds because I need for that structure to be completely solid. Okay. Of course, when you're doing one finger at a time for demonstration, 60 seconds seems to take forever to cure. But if you're doing it in your salon, you'd be working on the other hand right away as well. All right. So now I'm going to put another layer over top because it's pretty transparent right there and I don't want it to be. I'm just gonna do another second layer. Again, I don't want it to get too bulky in the sidewalls or the cuticle line, but I do want to have that solid adhesion layer. Okay. So now you can
Darlene,
see, yeah.
I have gotten a request for you to show the front edge view.
Okay. 2 seconds. I'm going to just freeze that and then I will turn and show you that. So I'm going to, I did a second layer of the pretty in pink because I don't want to be able to see through to my natural nail whatsoever. Okay, so you need to make sure that it is solid. Otherwise, you're going to get that double line. Okay. Oh. I got that pinched a little bit too much. Okay, so how do we go here? Is this what you're looking for? So I've got my parallel lines. Okay. All right. So my next step, I want to add a little bit of this pink shimmer. So on the platform, so what you can do, if you build this up a little bit, you can get in here, you can clean up those smile lines so that they stay nice and crisp, okay? But I want to now take that shimmer and where I put my platform, can you see that little shimmer come through? It's really, really pretty. Can you see how the light's catching it there? Not sure if you can see that, but it looks really nice. And again, it's just a little bit of a peekaboo. All right, and I'm going to cure that. Okay, so that is a 30-second cure time. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to go with my Peck Gel color and I'm going to start to create a design that I'm inlaying on my free edge. So I have chosen to use these 3 colors. I have got my detailer brush. And if you have a dotting tool, okay, to use a dotting tool. All right, so now I'm going to make my design. So what do I want to do? Well, I think I'm going to, first of all, create something here at the smile line to maybe give it a little bit of definition or just a little bit of fun. And really, you can do whatever you want. Whoop. Well, that's in there now. So let's incorporate that into the design. Okay. I'm going to take a little bit of white. I'm going to go right on top. And then I'm going to pull it to make a little combination. So can you see that? Okay, and I like it. I'm going to freeze it just so it doesn't go anywhere. And then come on out and I'll repeat on this side. So and then some white. And then when I pull it in the opposite direction. And it kind of looks like some flames. Okay. You can also get in there, do some dots. So I'm just going to show you some different ways that you can use it. I love blending the gels like that because I think it just gives such a nice effect. Okay. Let's go. I'm gonna make some bigger dots. Want it to be pretty big so that I can pull those colors together. Okay. I don't want to have a tail. Come on. Oh, maybe we'll do one more over here. And then take some white. I'm just touching it on top. Okay, now I'm going to take my detailer and I'm going to pull it. I'm going to pull it in different directions. Okay, good. All right, so then I'm going to cure that. Now, what you do have to be aware of, so the Tack gel colors are a 60-second cure, and I said to you that they dry tack free. I don't want to cure it all the way through. I'm just going to go halfway because I want to be able to encapsulate it now with my clear gel. Okay. All right. So now what I also have to do, I need to be able, if this is the lift of my finger, I need to be able to bring this up, fill that all in there with the apex. So, oh, sorry, you can't see that. I need to be able to fill in that gap right there with my apex. So I'm going to blend in. So I tend to do the free edge first so that, and then I'll connect the two with, I'll bring the apex back a little bit further. So I'm just going to spread this on, capsulate it in. I keep the center higher than I will my sidewalls because I don't want all that product in the sidewalls on the free edge. So for right now, I'm just encapsulating this portion here. Oops. I'm going to encapsulate this.
Darlene,
Yeah.
we've gotten a question about whether you have to use the NSI branded curing lamp in order to get the products to cure better.
Okay, so here is, it's a yes and no question. When we manufacture products, we test our gels according to our lamp. So we know that our lamp will cure the product in 60 seconds. Not all lamps are created equally. You have to make sure that because we offer a high quality lamp, you need to use a high quality lamp. So if you're going on Amazon and buying a $20 lamp to cure the product, you probably will not have those same results that what you will get from our lamp. So I know that that's always a big question when it comes to product and lamps, and nail technicians get frustrated because manufacturers are saying you have to use our lamp. You have to use a high quality lamp. Okay, so how many diodes are in your lamp? Diodes are the bulbs. How strong are those bulbs? How much strength is in the lamp itself? How many wattage? So those are things that you have to all look at. Um, I know as nail technicians, it's expensive. The tools, the gel is more expensive than doing acrylic. But if you're not using a quality lamp, you will get service breakdown. Does that answer your question? So now I'm just still working on my free edge here, and I'm just encapsulating this front portion and stretching it all the way out. And then just blending it together to the middle. Okay, I don't want that to fall, so I'm just going to go in and freeze it. I do a lot of freezing when I'm working. If I like where something is looking and it's what it's supposed to be, I'm going to turn around and I'm going to freeze it so it doesn't move on me. Okay. So you can see how I've built up a little bit. I need to build up a little bit more in here. So I'm going to take my clear gel. I won't go sideways. Brothers, Darlene. Okay, I'm going to take my clear gel and I'm doing the apex. So again, I'm floating on top. And I'm bringing that to there. Okay. I dripped a little bit there. Okay, so you can see my apex is coming, but I'm gonna have to fill in there. When you're sculpting nails, what's really important to understand, we want the free edge to be nice and thin. But we need to have that false apex where there is going to be the thickness. So if I would take my nail and cut it right where the apex, that false apex is sitting, yeah, it's going to look really thick. So this has to get built up. Here it's not thick, okay? But in here, I need to build that up for the strength. So if you're looking at it thinking, oh my goodness, why is she using so much gel? Let me do it from the side view. It's because right here is where that false apex is. And I need to have that for the strength to be able to support the length of that nail. So do you see how I filled that in right there? Okay, just going to give it a freeze again. Is this making sense? Am I losing people? Okay, so now if you look, I filled that whole section in right there. Tapered it sideways, and let's look at it from this angle. And I think and we're going to look down the barrel. You can see I just got right there a little bit. You can see that the nail, you can see the product on there. Okay, but I've got nice and straight. All right. So now I am done with my sculpting. Oops. And I am going to cure that fully for 60 seconds because again, I need each layer to be cured completely. When you're working with clear, obviously the light is penetrating through. So now I am getting that full cure on my Tack gel colors because it's being exposed to it. My pink that I used for the body, well, before I put the clear over top of that, that was completely cured. So just make sure that you're doing, if you're using everything that is opaque, you need to make sure that every time you put a layer on, that it is completely cured, cured all the way through.
Darlene,
Yep.
when you say that you're freezing it, how long do you typically freeze it for? How many seconds?
If I'm freezing something, it's anywhere between 10 and 15 seconds. So
Okay.
I will use the countdown on my lamp to make sure that, I just kind of watch it and I'll take it out. So even when I'm pinching something, I'll freeze it for a little bit so that I can take my pinching tools and manipulate it, but I don't want to squash it down. Think of it as think of a like an M&M. Okay, you've got that hard candy shell on the outside, but the inside is still soft like chocolate. But now the chocolate's not oozing out, so it's that same kind of analogy.
Another question. How long
Okay,
would it take you to do a full set of these types of nails?
if I were doing this on a client, I book myself at least 3 hours. Because and that's starting from scratch. That's with no product on. If somebody comes in and they've got product on already and we're switching it out, well, I got to get rid of all that old product first, and then I'm going to turn around and put a full set on. So it is definitely a 3 hour service when I'm doing longer nails on my clients. It's not a quickie in and out. Okay, so now I'm going to
I
take,
one more,
yep,
sorry, can I bring up one more thing?
of course.
So, Jessica had reached out and had said that she always has lifting on her nails, regardless of what she's used. She's used polygel, dip powder, acrylic, hard gel, and always with the right prep, using the dehydrator and a primer. Even when she
Okay,
doesn't she said, is there any other product that we could recommend? So I had asked what type of primer she uses, and she said she uses an acid-free. So I
okay,
recommended that she try Super Bond, which is an
yep,
acid primer, and also
yep,
incorporate our Essential Bond Enhancer, which is
yep.
a pH neutralizer. And she came back and asked if we would also recommend incorporating a rubber gel, like a rubber-based kind of gel, into her application.
Okay, so you've said everything that is exactly right. So if you're experiencing lifting, so lifting can happen either because the natural nail didn't prep properly, or you got product too close to the sidewalls or cuticle line that you couldn't blend it in properly enough. What we want to make sure is that we're leaving a margin around our cuticle line and into our sidewalls so that we can blend that product nice and tight. Think of it as a horseshoe. We want that horseshoe, if this is the sidewall of the nails, we want this to be the thinnest right in here so that we can get proper proper curing. So if hang on, let me get a piece of paper. Oh, I got no paper. Okay, we want to make sure if you're looking down the barrel of the nail, okay, these are our sidewalls here. Okay, so this is the inside of the nail. We're looking down. We want this to be the thinnest, this to be the thickest. Okay, so the first question is do you have too much product buildup that has fallen down into your sidewalls? So even when I'm sculpting the nails, I do my base coat and I do what is called a foundation layer, where it's a nice even coat all the way across, and then no more gel gets put into the sidewall. It's just going to be concentrating on the top for the apex. So the first question is, again, is how much product do you have sitting in your sidewalls? Did you leave a margin? So that can cause lifting. Now, if you're doing everything proper, the way your application is supposed to go, Fantastic. That's going to now bring us to bond enhancer. It levels the pH in the natural nail. Okay. Bond enhancer will go on first. Then you're doing bond, which is an acid-free primer. Bond enhancer enhances the stickage of the bond. So now a lot of times, if I'm using these two products, I don't have to use an acid-based primer, which Super Bond is. So acid-free sits on top of the nail plate, and it's kind of, I'm going to say it kind of has like a sticky adhesion, and that's what allows product to stick to it. Now, let's say that I've got a real problem lifter and that combination doesn't work. Then I'll do bond enhancer together with Super Bond. Super Bond is an acid-based primer that roughs up the natural nail plate a little bit more. Because it's acid, yes, it is going to burn the natural nail a little bit more, which roughs it up even more. So I might try that combination. If that's not working, instead of doing, so I might go back to my bond enhancer and bond. And if base coat is, this is my base layer, if that's still being an issue where I'm not getting, where I'm getting lifted, I will then try rubber base as my base coat. So again, it's using products in different ways. And then because this is like, oh, it's like an elastic band. It hugs the nail so much. And I've had really good results. So then I don't have to use the acid-based primer. I can go back to this. So it is going to be a little bit of troubleshooting that you're going to have to do to work out what is the best combination for that client. Write it down, say, okay, or if it's yourself, okay, I did this combo. Did it work? Fantastic. Stick with that. If it doesn't work, then switch something out. Don't use the bond, use the Super Bond. Did that work? Better, not better. If you're still getting lifting, instead of base coat, use the rubber base and see how that goes. Does that make sense to you?
Yeah, I think that answers the question. Thank you. The last
Okay.
question that came through is on the
Yep.
full set of pipes, where you were
Yep.
talking about it being about 3 hours for a booking.
Yep.
I know that it's hard for everyone to kind of calculate it into their terms in their country, because we're
Yeah.
looking at all over the world, people watching right now. But
Yeah.
I got a question about, like, what would you roughly charge for that kind of a set?
if I'm doing a full sculpt, I'm doing design, all of that, going into it. If I'm not doing design and I'm just doing a French, like say a full color, I charge $180. Okay. If we're now doing the design and everything incorporated, like a full set of nails, something like this, I'm going to charge anywhere from $250 to $300. Now, again, that it really is hard. Now, that's Canadian dollars. How does that equate to American or European, like Europe or wherever it is that you're at? I also find that you have to, you need that clientele base that's going to want to pay that kind of a money. I have two clients that I do extreme nails on at least twice a year, but for the majority of the time, they just wear their nails really short, your basic salon style square, because they're in school or they're doing this or doing that, but then they want it nice for Christmas, they'll do that. So it's hard to do this type of a nail and work all the time. Like, as soon as I'm done this webinar, these two nails are coming off. Well, first of all, I can't have different lengths, but this is okay. I call these my show nails or maybe my party nails. I personally can't wear a set of nails this long for an extended period of time. They just drive me insane. So I don't feel that it's a realistic everyday nail. This length, that's realistic, that's every day. And even doing a proper set of almonds, If I'm sculpting them out from the very beginning, this might be a 2-hour appointment that I'm doing. It's not a quickie in and out. Okay, so let me just talk very quickly. I'm not going to do all of the filing, but I want you to be able to see what we're looking for. So first of all, we're going to do our parallel lines underneath. So what we want to be able to see is, are these lines matching up? Okay, and I want to be able to support that, and I want to get those lines straight. So when you look at the nail, just filing right there. When you look at the nail, it should be going, the file should be straight out. It should be straight on top as well. Okay, so I'm just gonna file this little bit here. Okay, because I want this to be straight. So I want my parallel lines to be straight. I want my apex here to be straight as well. When I look down the barrel of that nail, I want to have that nice half pipe going on there. I want to be able to take my file and see when I file in the sidewalls and the cuticle, I'm blending it in. Like if you look down the barrel of the nail, the only part that the file is touching is right here. If your file, so this is also going to help with lifting. If your file is flat and you're trying to get into those sidewalls, you're not going to get in there properly. You want to be able to just file where I need to blend. So if I look at it from the side view, sorry, I dropped it a little too high. If I'm looking at it now, this is flush to my natural nail. Product can't be touching here. If it's too thick, that too can cause lifting. So if you're getting lifting, ask yourself, how much product did you put into your cuticle and to your sidewall? And I'll just work my way around, blending, so that I end up having a nice smooth finish all the way around. But I don't think we really want to be watching me file, because it's just going to be wiggly all the way through. But you can see that that structure is there. I've got my nice apex here. It's not too high. I've got straight here. I've got straight here. Looking at the nail this way. I'll put my hand underneath. It's a little hard to see. Trying to figure out the best way. But you can see I've got it nice and straight going like this. And that's going to make, if you can sculpt it well, then your finished filing doesn't take as long. And then that will be the finished result. I'll put my top coat on. And can you see that little bit of a shimmer that the right in there, that those pink peep toes did? So that's using several different products, sculpting out a French nail. Any other questions that anybody has?
Nothing's
Sorry.
coming through right now.
No, nothing's coming through. Okay, well, if there are more questions that come through, just leave it into the comments. And like I said, I always like to go back and go through the comment sections and answer them again in Word form. I hope that this was beneficial. I hope that this explained how gels work, that they are compatible with each other just in how you're using them. I hope you enjoyed this video.
Sorry, we did just get a question.
Yep.
A question about your apex. Does it look different between short and long nails? So I think it's about apex placement.
Absolutely. The shorter the nail, the more natural the apex is. The longer the nail, the placement of the apex has to be longer and in different places. So if I'm doing, so if we look at this medium length nail, how do I hope that works here. If you look at it, my apex is still going to be right about here. Okay. The longer my nail is, I've had the false apex is here. This is the thickest part of the nail because it has to be able to support that length. So I always tell my students when we're learning how to do nails, first of all, you got to start at the basics. You have to understand structure and foundation with a short nail. so that as you start to build longer nails, that you understand how that structure changes, okay? You have to have sidewalls. Everybody thinks that when you're making an almond or a stiletto, that you eliminate your sidewalls. Well, that's not the case. You still have sidewalls, and it's about tapering and it's about pinching. So I think between apex and sidewalls, a lot of times people lose them because they think the shape of an almond or a stiletto, that you're filing the underside to get that shape, when that's not the case. You're filing this way and tapering it, but still have sidewalls. So yes, when you're doing extreme lengths, your apex will change. It will be further out, and it will be for a longer portion, as opposed to when we're doing a salon style. The apex is typically starts in that back third in this section here. Longer, definitely it's out here. Like literally, I snapped that nail. So this is where that 50% C curve is, not necessarily here where the cuticle or where my hyponychium is. The 50% isn't here, the 50% is here. And that's why you have to lift that form so that your product can come down. Does that answer any questions? So this was just
Yep,
a
I think we're good.
perfect. I think we're good. Okay, so this was just like, again, a little demo, taking things a little bit further. I mean, I am 100% all about furthering education. So if there is a university that's happening around you, don't be afraid to go to them. They're fantastic. Um,
Sorry, I did get one more request. Can you show the
yeah,
demo nail in the camera close up from a couple angles again?
I can. So it's not completely finished filing. So here you've got your side view. Okay, you've got your down the barrel. You've got your other side view. You want to look at it like this. So I'm not flipping you off. This is my finished one. Okay, so you've got your side view. So you want these parallel lines here to be going straight with the finger. And the biggest thing when you raise your form is that we want that we tend to go up and follow that pitch, which we don't want. Okay. And then the barrel again, and then the other side view. And there we go. There we have it.
Thank you, Darlene.
You're very welcome. I look forward to seeing and talking with you all in another month's time. Again, I don't quite have a date yet, and I don't know what we're doing, but if there's something that you would like us to talk about or to show, let us know, because we always welcome your comments and your opinions. But otherwise, I am really glad that you joined us, and I thank you once again. And we will see you next month. So bye for now.